you are ready to get started with Print Then Cut, the first thing I recommend that you do is calibrate your machine. In order to do that, you'll need three things. You'll need a regular inkjet printer, a sheet of paper, a white sheet of paper, and a light grip mat. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. About a year and a half ago, I did a tutorial that I thought was decent, but once I looked at it again, I realized it wasn't so good. So I am redoing this tutorial. I am going to show you all the things in order to help you get your Cricut Air series or your Cricut Maker series calibrated for Print Then Cut. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, in this tutorial, we will be looking at how to calibrate. I'm going to be using my Cricut Explore Air 2, but this would also work with a Cricut Maker, a Cricut Explore Air 3, or a Cricut Maker 3. So any of the full-size Cricut cutting machines. This will not work with a Cricut Joy because at the time of this recording this video, there is no Print Then Cut option for the Cricut Joy. Now, I'm going to be using a regular standard sheet of copy paper, and I'm going to use a light grip Cricut mat. If you don't have a light grip mat, you could also use a green standard grip mat. If you don't have regular copy paper, you could also use white cardstock. I would suggest using white paper. If you've used other colors and that has worked for you, continue to do that. I'm just telling you what I've used and what has worked for me. So now let's move over to Cricut Design Space. I am connected to my Cricut Explore Air 2. And the first thing I'm going to do is go over here to the left panel right next to the word Canvas. I'm going to click on the three lines and I'm going to navigate down to the word Calibration. I'm going to click on Calibration and I'm going to select the Print Then Cut option. I'm going to click that, and my computer is going to be looking for a printer. The printer that I'm using for this process is my Canon MX470 series printer. This is not a sublimation printer. You will not need a sublimation printer for this process. I'm going to click Print, and my calibration sheet will print from my Canon MX470 series printer. I have my printed sheet from the printer. I'm going to select Continue. The next thing that I'm being instructed to do is place the sheet in the top left corner of my mat. I have my calibration sheet printed out. Now I am going to place it on the mat in the way that I'm instructed to do it from Cricut Design Space. Before I place it down here, let me let you know that I have left a copy of this template linked below the video so that you can grab yours and get your machine calibrated. So I'm going to place it in the top corner exactly how it is in Cricut Design Space, and I would definitely say be careful right here to make sure you place it as straight as possible. Okay, I have my sheet on my mat. Now let's go back over to the computer. Now the computer is going to search for my Cricut Explore Air 2, which is connected via Bluetooth. Okay, it's saying to prepare the machine, which is to load the fine point blade in clamp B and load the mat. I'm going to put my fine point blade in clamp B. I'm going to load the mat into the machine. I'm going to click the flashing arrow. Now I'm going to press the flashing C. Now on the computer, it's saying that it is scanning this calibration sheet and it will help me make an assessment. I'm going to speed this part up. On the computer, it is saying without unloading the mat. So I'm not going to remove the mat from the machine at all. Examine the cut line around the small square in the middle of the calibration sheet. They're referring to this square right here. I'm supposed to touch this square and see if I can feel it all the way around. It says, does the cut line touch the printed line? So does it touch? I am going to say no, because at the top right here, the line is cut and is not touching the printed line. So I am going to select no on the computer and I'm going to click continue. Now there's a light blue tip on the bottom of the screen that says you may need to take a photo of the calibration on your smartphone, then zoom in to answer this question. So if I were to take a photo of this, but I can see it, I can still say that it is not touching all the way around. So I'm going to click continue. I'm going to speed this part up. Now on the computer, it is saying without unloading. So once again, the mat is still in the machine. I have not removed the mat. I'm not going to take it out to look at it up close. Examine the lines on the top and right side of the calibration sheet. Use the drop downs to select the number. So I'm going to look at the lines at the top. And now I can feel these, but I can also see them very, very clearly. So if I were to select a line where it is the most calibrated, where the cut line is touching the printed line directly in the middle, I would choose line 12 at the top. So on my computer, for top line, I am going to scroll down and select 12. And then over here on the right, this would be your right, I would scroll down and I would do the same thing. I would be looking very carefully to find which line is the most centered, which line is actually touching the printed line in the center. And if I had to select one, I would choose line M and N both look good. I am going to go with M. So on the right, I'm going to select letter M, and then I'm going to click continue. And then it says we need to print another calibration sheet to review the changes. Press load, unload on the machine. So it's telling me to press this button right here, and it's asking me to print an additional sheet. Okay, so I'm going to do that and I'll come back and continue with the process. I have printed a second sheet. Now I'm going to click continue, and I've already put it in the top corner. I'm going to select continue again. So my computer is looking again for this Cricut Explorer Air 2. I've already loaded it into the machine. I'm going to press the flashing C. All right, without unloading the mat, I'm going to examine the cut line, and it is excellent. It is touching the printed line all the way around. Okay, so it says, does the cut line touch the printed line? I'm going to select yes, and then I'm going to select continue. And it's still going to do a fine calibration. So the first calibration was just a tiny bit off, but this one is making sure it is perfect, even though it already is. All right, without unloading the mat from the machine, I'm going to do the same thing I did the first time. This time, honestly, it's harder because it looks like all of these lines are centered perfectly. But if I had to guess, gosh, number 11 looks really good, but also number 12. So I'm going to choose number 12 at the top. And on the side, I am going to choose, I'm going to choose letter M. Letter M looks perfect. Now it's doing what's called a confirmation cut. Okay, without unloading, examine the cut through the middle rectangle on the calibration sheet. So they're talking about this big rectangle now. If it's easier to see, you may remove the sheet from the mat. Are you satisfied with the cut? So I can remove the sheet if I want to, just to see if it's good enough. Let's look at it. Look at that. That is a perfect cut on the rectangle. I'm just doing this so you can see that. Okay, you can see that the rectangle is absolutely perfect. So I can say yes on the computer, I can click continue, and my calibration is finished with my Cricut Explore Air 2. If you have found this tutorial helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.